For the first time in 24 years, the Seattle Mariners are playing for an American League pennant today. Welcome to the Dom Skiing Channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's minds. And boy, here we are. Game one starts in just under 30 minutes. I've got to get this pregame out for you guys so I can upload it real quick. But man, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about those 15 innings on Friday night. The greatest sports night in Seattle of my lifetime. But there was so much that we could have talked about. One thing I do want to say is that, the home field advantage mattered in that game more than I think it ever has. The fans just kept picking up the players who had to be so exhausted. One more thing I wanted to say is, I want to do something like a Cal Raleigh challenge. If the Mariners do make it to the World Series, I'm thinking exactly 497 pitches were thrown in that game. I'm thinking maybe the Cal Raleigh challenge is squat 300 times with my body weight plus weight equivalent to Cal Raleigh's body weight in catcher gear. I'll calculate all that. And then squat that many times for, with it maybe like a hold at the bottom. If you guys would be interested in that, let me know down in the comments below. It would be absolutely hard. Cal Raleigh is a big dude, obviously. So you don't need me to tell you the big dumper's a big dude, but man, 235 pounds, plus catcher's gear, probably another 20, 30 pounds at least. I'd be squatting 265 pounds about 300 times, which, yeah, just think about that for a second. And that's just what he's doing to get in position to catch. So the Cal Raleigh challenge, if you do it before me, let me know, take a video. I will absolutely shout you out on this channel. But that's going to be the Cal Raleigh challenge. I'm going to do that if the Mariners make it to the World Series. Something like 300 squats with a whole lot of weight. And I might have to, I'll try to do it in one session. Might have to break it up over a certain amount of days. We'll see. Anyway, getting into the game tonight. The order for us, pretty standard. Dom Canzone, the lefty side of the platoon, going up against Kevin Gausman. And the right answer is never the sexy answer, right? I've heard a lot of people say stuff like, oh man, I really hope we don't have to play another, I really don't want to play another extra innings game, in the playoffs. Well, me neither, but we do not decide the result. We do not decide the outcomes of these games. It's important to remember that. All we decide is we control what we can control. This is the best time for stoicism, maybe in all of sports. Late season baseball. And that's why I call this game 168. This isn't game one of the ALCS to me. It is, right? It's huge. But we have to go into it and remember that we played 167 games so far that have mattered this season. The 168th, we have to keep doing what's got us here. And that's going 1-0 every pitch, which is the same. That's exactly what we did on Friday night to get here. And the 166 games before that. Looking at Kevin Gausman, right? He's got an elite walk rate. He's got elite strikeout stuff. And he doesn't allow a whole lot of base runners. This is a guy who I really want to look at these splits because pre-All-Star break, Kevin Gausman with a 4.19 ERA was not figuring it out exactly. And then after the All-Star break, he's at a 2.81 ERA. So you look at that again. His both sides of the platoon to lefties, a 0.95 whip, and to righties just a 1.18 whip. So he's got about equivalent innings pitched, stuff like that. You look at the actual pitch mix, he's only got 3 pitches, which is maybe the biggest blessing here. And Scooble only had to get swinging strikes on 2 pitches to rack up 26 swinging strikes on 99 pitches and keep the Mariners absolutely, it took the most amount of strategy, with Josh Naylor hitting a double, stealing third because third baseman was backed so far up, McKinstry, and then, getting the sac fly from Garver to get home. It took all the strategy in the world to get Tarek Skubal up, just to get one run off of him. And we didn't necessarily get him off of his game. We just exercised a run I mean, Kevin Gausman, the best thing is the fact that he uses 54% four-seamers, which were excellent at hitting. We're one of the best four-seam fastball hitting teams in the league because this team is built on power, speed, and belief. We've got more of those three things than just about anybody in baseball. Now, the Blue Jays are somewhere between us with the power, speed, and belief, can get absolutely roaring hot, and the Tigers, who are not a team that gets as hot, but a team that can absolutely play the situations, full of just scrappy grinders, guys who are going to, foul off pitches, guys who are going to control the zone, not guys with as much power and speed, but guys with everything else. And the Blue Jays are somewhere between. They've got guys, just in the lineup tonight, they've got guys like Nathan Lucas, a guy who has an excellent ability to not strike out. He's also got a really good expected batting average. I don't need to tell you about George Springer and Vladdy Jr. Those are the two guys who really power this offense right now. Then you got Addison Barger in there, right? An elite slugging rate, an elite hard hit rate for him. Some of the better exit velocities of anybody in baseball. Alejandro Kirk, same thing. Another guy, he doesn't strike out, walks a ton, excellent expected stats, hits the ball incredibly hard when he does. Once you get to that 5 through 9, right? That 6 through 9, you got Varsho, Clement, Santander, Jimenez. These guys are where you get to see one-trick ponies just a little bit. Varsho, he's a 5-tool player. Let's not discount what Varsho can do. And as a center fielder, he might be the second best defensive center fielder in the game, behind only Mr. No-Fly Zone, Julio Rodriguez himself. His sprint speed is elite too, right? But then all of his other stats are somewhere in the middle, a little bit more average, but he's a short guy, which makes him harder to pitch to with a smaller strike zone. Ernie Clement hitting 7 for them. Elite at not striking out, just 10.4% of the time he strikes out. The guy, so you got to go after the guys who you can strike out in this game, right? Addison Barger, 24.1% strikeout rate. Dalton Varsho, 28.4% strikeout rate. And my bad, he doesn't actually have average stats on everything. He has some really good, some really bad, but hasn't played as much this year. So he's only had half the batted ball events of a lot of his other teammates because he was injured for a large majority somewhere. I think it was the middle of the year. And then Jimenez at the bottom of the order, another guy who he has a good ability to not strike out, 17.9% strikeout rate. Not as good as the elite, plate discipline guys, Nathan Lucas, Vladdy Jr., Alejandro Kirk, Ernie Clement. Those four guys, you're going to really want to get, you're going to have batted ball events. You're not going to strike those guys out too much. And you're going to have to, as corny as it sounds, right? As managers are saying, right? You got to catch the ball, throw the ball, all those, those phrases. Like you really do in this game. And Andres Jimenez at the bottom of the order, another guy who's just sneaky, 17.9% strikeout rate to a 27.9% sprint speed. So they've got a lot of speed in this lineup. They got 5 guys who, with a red sprint speed on Baseball Savant. And they've got really 4 guys with absolutely, some of the best plate discipline in the league. So 4 out of their 9 hitters having elite plate discipline is going to make it hard for us to control the zone. But we do have to go 1-0 every pitch here. Then again, right, they have tons of hard hit rate. In that 3-4-5 spot, Vladdy Jr., Addison Barger, Alejandro Kirk, they're going to be mashing. Not to mention George Springer at the top of the order. As Mariners fans, we know exactly what he can do. Our team, right, who do I expect to do well in this series? Cal Raleigh loves this stadium, Rogers Center. Cal Raleigh is, who our offense is built around. Cal's going to be Cal, though. And same thing with Julio. Julio's going to be Julio. I expect there to be, a home run in there from Julio. Some maybe a double for sure. I would expect, some singles, some really hard hit balls. But for us, right, I think this is a big spot for Randy Arozarena, and it's a huge spot for Jorge Polanco. Hit the 1-4 hitters, the guys who are receiving protection from Cal and Julio, and who are protecting them. Not to mention, Josh Naylor in that 5-hole doing what he does is exactly what you want to do to get a guy like Gausman off balance. But with Gausman, he throws the 2 pitches that we hit the best possibly in baseball this year. A 4-seamer at 54% and a splitter at 38%. Both of these teams, I think, if you were to look at one outlier compared to the rest of the MLB, these are the 2 of the most splitter-heavy teams in the MLB on the pitching side. And because of that, because we're so good at teaching splitters on the pitching side, we also know how to hit them. And same thing for them. Now, Bryce Miller, excellent one time through the order. He's getting the ball tonight. I don't necessarily expect him to go, I don't need him to go 6 innings, even though our bullpen is taxed and everything. And, this is a 7-game series too. So even if we, play conservative with our bullpen and don't go super aggressive, I trust Dan Wilson's managerial choices, being in the clubhouse, knowing how guys feel and stuff. And the last thing you want to do is mortgage games 2, 3, 4, and beyond by throwing all your pitchers out there to win game 1. We want as much length as we can get from Bryce tonight. I would love to see Emerson Hancock go tonight, even though he's not starting. And we did not, Dan Wilson in the pregame press conference today did not announce a starter for game 2. He said, we will see how game 1 goes. And Brian Wu obviously added to the ALDS roster today. You've probably seen that by now. And you probably, and Miles Mastrobuoni. And we took off 2 hitters, added a pitcher and a hitter. So we took off Luke Raley, who really, as, the side of that, like a left-handed side of that platoon, I just don't think he makes a ton of sense on this roster. You've got some great left-handed hitting already. And defensively, he's such a tweener right now for this roster that he's not better than the options that we have defensively. In fact, if it did come down to Naylor, anything happening where he needs to come out of the game, I would rather move Suarez over to first base and then put another third baseman in there. And that's the other guy that left was moved to the taxi squad today and will not be on the ALCS roster, our boy Ben Williamson, which after seeing how scrappy Leo Rivas was on Friday, to get us here, now a Mariners legend, I expect he will fill that pest role for the Mariners. He will be the guy that you bring in, obviously, when you need, a scrappy at bat, but he can be that pest, that Jose Caballero, that Ben Williamson. He can do that. And JP also can do that. And even Victor Robles, I'd like to see do that. He hasn't done it a ton recently. I feel like he's been going extremely hard on the contact tool, but I would like to see a little more plate approach from Victor Robles. I'd like to see JP just dial the control of the zone up and just absolutely tire these guys out. Because the chaos ball is what won us the game in the 15th inning, starting off with JP. And when JP can lead off, right, when he can flip the lineup card over and we get to that top of the order with JP having toyed with the pitcher and maybe had a long at bat before, that's where you can really get into a big inning that can open everything up. Anyway, this game is about to start in less than 20 minutes, so I've got to go ahead and give you guys my predictions, and I will see you after the game. My predictions for this game: how can you not take Cal to hit a homer in Rogers Center? I'm going to take Cal, but I'm also going to take, I haven't taken Dom Canzone a lot, but the guy who shares my name and has a similar face to me, both Italian boys, I'm going to take Dom Canzone to hit a homer tonight. I think he's going to see that splitter, see that fastball, and that golf lefty uppercut swing is going to fly indoors too. So those are my 2 to homer. Bryce Miller, I don't expect you to strike out the Blue Jays a lot. Like we said, this lineup is filled with 4 elite plate discipline guys and 2 more that are very, very good. So for strikeouts for Bryce Miller, I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna say 5. He has some nasty stuff. He has a ton of pitches. I don't want him to use too many pitches, get too deep into tinkering. I want him to stay the course with, he's got a nasty, nasty splitter. Stay the course with he has great 4-seam since he entered the league. And I mean, work in the sinkers, the cutters, stuff like that. But don't go overboard and use 7, 8 pitches like he usually does, or like he can sometimes. And then Gosman, I mean, really a 3-pitch guy. He's a 4-seam, split, and slider. Anyway, for the so Bryce going to go with 5 strikeouts. I'm going to take Cal and Canzone to hit homers. And for the score of this game, again, we're 1-0 every pitch. That's what matters here. But the score of this game, the sexy answer is never the right answer. I'm going to go 6-3. 6-3 Mariners. We hit some bombs early. We keep this game at bay. And we hold the Blue Jays to only 3 runs. But I'm going to say that they do get a ton of base runners in this game because this lineup has the scrappiness, it has the power, and it has the speed. I will see you guys after the game. Going to try to get this video up for you as soon as possible. And go M's. Also, all glory to God.